Sound check. 1, 2, 3.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Agenda Briefing Forum. I would like to start by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we are meeting, the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation, and pay our respect to elders past, present, and emerging. This forum is not a decision-making meeting. It provides an opportunity to brief Council on the agenda for the upcoming Ordinary Council meeting to be held on Tuesday, 28 July 2026. This evening, deputations will be heard from members of the public in relation to items listed on that agenda. Following each deputation, elected members may ask questions of the deputy. Once all deputations have been received, elected members will have the opportunity to ask questions of the administration regarding the agenda items. I remind all attendees to ensure that comments are respectful toward Council, City officers, and all members of the public present. Please also note that this meeting is being live streamed. Announcements. There are no announcements tonight. Attendance. The Mayor and Council Leader are both on leave of absence. Everyone else is present in the chamber this evening. Disclosure of interest. Are there any councillors who have any interest to disclose? Yes, Councillor Black.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. Just for item 10.1.3, the Rise Cafe. When this came to Council last year for tender awarding, I gave a deputation as a private citizen on this item. It's an impartial interest and I'll stay in the room.
Thank you. I'm just checking, Councillor, did you switch mics? I just see a different name on your mic.
No, I did not.
Just maybe worth checking maybe later, just so it will be clear to me, but I will look at you anyway. Any other disclosures, councillors? Okay, we'll swap. Thank you.
Do I?
Oh, wow. Here you go. Okay, so we will continue with the deputations. This evening, councillors, we have 2 in-person deputations. I will explain how the deputation process will work. Each person who is presenting a deputation will be invited to come forward to speak at the microphone for up to 5 minutes. As we get close to 5 minutes, I will let you know so that you can conclude your deputation. Once you have finished, the councillors may have some questions for you. So we will start with item 10.3.1, Stone Street and Garrett Road intersection upgrade, community engagement outcomes. The first deputation is from Matt Duxbury. If you can please come forward and state your name and suburb, and you have 5 minutes.
Yes, it's Matt Duxbury. We're at 110 Stone Street. And if I may start, if we look up here, we can see what the intersection is that we're talking about. And so that we all actually understand what it is, this line down here is where the second lane has got to go. So if you have a look over the left here, they're going to make 2 lanes down here. If this intersection goes ahead, you're going to lose this bit down here. That's a very, very narrow footpath through there. On the other side, you can see by this picture here, see that concrete there, it just goes on the footpath side of that, and that power pole will have to go another side. Now, I know we haven't done the final design or arrangement, but whichever way you look at this, this is going because you'll have two lanes of traffic coming through, and you've got to have merging space available on this side. So that's actually what the signalisation would be in the final analysis. Oh, went one too far. There we go. All right, so as a deputation, we've still got this WhatsApp running, and we've had people on it now for quite a number of months. So we've got 46 people, probably represent most of the people in your survey that was opposed to it. And most of these people are on the main central streets that are being affected by what we perceive will be changed traffic flows. So far, we were told at the last couple of times when we've spoken at council that the solution was still open and that it was an exploration, but the last paper was really focused, and the brief that came out of that work with GHD was certainly briefed in such a way that there weren't any other options that were seriously looked at. It was very much focused on the intersection and on satisfying the Black Spot Main Roads funding process. The current submission has got exactly the same pitch and tone, and the main driver for both of them has been accidents. Now, while I appreciate that accidents are really important, what nobody's spoken about to date is that the 3,000 vehicles per day, and by the way, 3,000 vehicles per day is access road level traffic, not local distributor traffic. And most of that traffic in our contention, or at least maybe up to half of it, isn't from within our little precinct. So that is a really, really important factor. The questions that we've had, and there's been quite a few questions from us to the council and meetings, we've taken an opportunity, and most of the answers have been pretty vague and deflecting. They really haven't gone to the meat of any particular issue. I have to give Fatima a bit of a rap. She came out and she was open, and we thought we had a chance there to have some internal leverage, but she's since left, and I'm not sure how that happened, but let's put that to one side. So one of the critical issues, we've done it again, one of the critical issues is, and I'm going to have to show you this, is that we have Stone Street as an LD, local distributor. We've got Queen Street as a local distributor, and we've got this zigzaggy local distributor over to here. We've got down through here, we've got Peninsula. I can't remember another road down here, but and there's a couple of mixed roads around here. Without putting too fine a point on it, that LD allocation of roads is a bit of a mess. It looks very historical. And if you go to this, and this is the definition of a local distributor, it's out of the Main Roads WA categorisation, and it clearly says that a local distributor should not be taking through traffic. And yet, in both the previous submission and this one, management has actually said that it's important for providing that through traffic through to the Peninsula area. It is absolutely not consistent with this. If you're taking that as the basis of your planning, then, and it's wrong, then basically everything else that flows from that's wrong. One of the propositions is if this traffic was managed properly and we did cut down that through traffic, you could cut the traffic out of that intersection by 50%. If you did that, you would cut accidents by 50%. So there are other things to be looked at, but this is a really critical issue. Now, there's a few other things that have happened on the way. Gee, this thing, buddy, on the way through. We really can't read that. But the traffic, 3,000 vehicles per day. One of the things that hasn't been able to be advised to us is where that traffic's coming from. We've asked it on a few occasions. We've told, no, we haven't got the data. But that data is obtainable these days. Satellite data will get you that. You don't have to do every street. You've just got to look at the ingress and egress and find out where that traffic's coming from. Then you can make some reasonable decisions. The other element of all of this in both submissions coming forward is that the livable cities policies have not been mentioned. And one of the livable cities policies is, or criteria, is that the residential areas should be for people, not for cars. This action is more for cars than it is for people.
Mr. Taxbury, you are at 6:30 minutes now?
I'm 6, okay.
Yeah,
so,
6:30.
Sorry, quickly. There's a whole bunch of other stuff there, you can read the detail, but what we're asking for is that, and I've carefully not been opposed to the lights as a project. I've been objecting to it because it's been piecemeal, as has the response to many other traffic issues there. It's not part of a coordinated traffic plan for the area. And that's what we're asking. That's what we're asking here, that it be done properly. Collect the data, do the study properly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will now check with councillors if anyone has any questions for you. Yes, Councillor Black.
Thank you, Acting Mayor, and thank you, Mr Duxbury, for your deputation and presentation. I can see here that you provided some asks to council in regards to how you may suggest you want to see this moving forward. I assume you've seen the officer's recommendation.
I have.
In your minds, is what you're asking here, is that being satisfied with the officer's recommendation in regards to the traffic engineering report?
I think if you read the officer's recommendation, it is still couched around black spot, main roads, justification and pricing, even down to design of the intersection, which if you accept the proposition here, it's putting the cart before the horse. We really need to be gathering a whole lot more information about where lights and traffics and roads should be and what should be put in place to actually better control traffic movement and make the whole area better for people, bikes and pedestrians.
Yes.
Question to Acting Mayor, thank you. You refer to sufficient traffic data. I'm not a traffic engineer. Do you have an idea of a ballpark as to what that might look like from your perspective?
I'm not a traffic engineer either, but if I sat down and I did a bit of thinking about it, I'd be looking at the particular roads that I needed to get data on, the ones that were feeding in from across the other precinct into our precinct, if you like, the traffic ingress and egress off Guildford Road. And by putting those numbers up over a period, you could work out how much of that traffic should be going through our precinct. So I've put a proposition up that a big portion of it is not our precinct, and you can only determine that by getting some proper data. I don't know what it's going to cost to get that data, but it'll be satellite data, and you'll be specifying that you want certain roads and you want it over a certain period, and you will get traffic data, direction. You can even get speeds. So yes.
And just one more, Acting
Yes,
Mayor,
please.
thank you. And just to refer to the 46 people that are in your WhatsApp
Yes.
group and community, has what you've asked for here in your deputation, has that been done in consultation with that group? And if I can just follow on there, if the traffic consultant were to consider these items that you've put forward, and it still the response is to still go ahead with the traffic lights intersection there, is that something, do you think that with that data the community would be able to support?
Look,
Depending on what that data says, of course.
a lot of people may not, but as a rational engineer and thinking person, you'd say, yeah, you have to. But you know, I'm looking at my place there, and I'm going, yeah, we're going to back out into that traffic, two lanes. So it has got problems anyway, which we've seen no insight as to how they would be addressed to make them acceptable from a safety and amenity point of view. And I think I've made the point before that the loss of amenity up that Stone Street is being disproportionately taken on compared to further areas, and in particular, and I don't know how many, from that peninsula area. So if they've got to drive a few extra minutes to get over there at the cost of us having to suffer extra cars, well, so be it.
Thank you, Mr Duxbury.
Any other questions, councillors? Thank you very much, Mr. Duxbury. So we are still on the same item, and now we will move to Kate Bowker. If you can please come forward and state your name and suburb, and you have 5 minutes.
No worries. I'm Kate Bowker. I live in Bayswater as well. I live on Queen Street, so in the same precinct that Matt is from. So I'm here to talk about the signalisation as well, and I've put in an opposition to what is currently proposed. And my opposition is also based on the piecemeal planning. So one of my main issues, as you would know, or hopefully most of you know, I have a big passion for making the local streets safer and more inviting for people not using vehicles in our area, and I've been to council many times on those issues. And the current proposal is actually going to make our local area more dangerous. because we're already seeing speeding and rat running without traffic lights. So the installation of traffic lights at this intersection is going to further exacerbate that problem. Now, the piecemeal planning issue here is kind of multifold. So the Guildford and Garrett Road lights intersection has already recently been changed by Main Roads, which some people may not be aware of, but they've actually just reduced the length of the left-hand turning lane. So if you're coming over from Ascot, over Garrett Road to turn onto Guildford Road, that lane has now been shortened to facilitate a longer right-hand turning lane to stop queuing. Now, what that is actually doing is exacerbating the time that it is taking for people to turn left onto Guildford Road. So I have personally seen many drivers getting frustrated by not being able to squeeze through and go left and cutting through the side streets to rat run through our area of Bayswater to get onto Guildford Road because of this recent change from Main Roads. Now, this change Main Roads has made is not being considered as part of this planning. And this is the piecemeal issue. The other thing that has not been considered as part of this planning is, because there's no data in the information provided, is how we're going to stop and discourage speeding and rat running on the local streets. So the current plan is put in lights and let's wait and see what happens. Now, we've had four children hit by vehicles in this area in the last year. This area, in the City of Bayswater area, I should say. Now, this area is a catchment for Maylands Primary School, Bayswater Primary School, and a lot of people that go to St Columba's Primary School. And now we're going to be causing, in the morning peak and the afternoon peak, more people accessing these roads, and the speed limit is 50 and lots of people don't adhere to that. And it's already very difficult for families to try and get their children to school or to after-school activities safely, or even just people who want to walk their dog at Gibney Reserve, which is a very popular dog park, or get down to the river, which is also a very popular recreational area. So the big issue here is we're really not considering the level of service impact to the community. We're not considering an adequate way of addressing risk, and we're not considering a cost-effective way of addressing that risk. Now, I'll point to something that the officer has written in the report about the right-hand time of day ban. So that has been suggested by the community group we're talking about, because most of the accidents have been caused by people coming out of Stone Street, trying to turn right onto Garrett Road, generally in a peak hour situation, and that's where the collisions are occurring. And most of those collisions have been recently at lower speeds, and therefore they're vehicular damage, not personal people damage. Now, the officer has said that that has been ruled out as an issue because while it may be feasible to implement, it would be the subject of Main Roads approval, and it would require regulatory signs and line marking, and the effectiveness may also be limited by driver compliance. Now, I would put to council that traffic lights would also need Main Roads approval. They would also require signage. They would also require line marking. And my general experience in this area is that they also don't necessarily result in driver compliance. So the Guildford and Garrett Road intersection, which I traverse about 4 times most days to facilitate school drop-offs and pickups, every single time I go through that intersection, a car drives through a red light. Every time. So saying that cars and people aren't going to adhere to a right-hand time of day ban, but they will adhere to lights, is like moot. So what I would prefer to see is if we could implement this time of day ban, and if that is going to address some of the vehicular accidents we are seeing, while still maintaining the amenity of the people in the area and hopefully still not encouraging additional rat running, for a much reduced cost to the taxpayers. So yes, it might be black spot funded, but ultimately that is still the community paying for it. And basically, as part of this, then we can start collecting some more data and information and support better traffic planning in the area, so we're getting better outcomes for the people that live in the area. And I would point to so the way some of the data has been presented is quite interesting. So there is a strong correlation that the people that live near the intersection don't want the signalisation of the intersection because we are the ones that see the rat running occurring. So the people on the side are quieter streets that aren't, I guess, privy to the rat running, aren't going to see that that is as big a problem and a risk to the community as we do.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bauke. I will check with councillors if anyone has any questions. Councillor Black.
Thank you, Acting Mayor, and thank you, Ms. Bauke, for your deputation. I'm just seeing if you're aware of the previous deputies' asks to council, if you've seen them, in regards to the collecting sufficient traffic data, making detailed reference to the planning guide principles and livable neighbourhoods, and reviewing those functions of the impacted roads. If not,
If I've seen them?
if you've seen them and you're aware of them,
Of the deputations?
yes,
I have. Yes, sorry.
previous.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
Yes. Yep.
And I guess when you spoke about the piecemeal approach that you from your perspective is being taken place, is something where we take a more holistic view as suggested here. Is that something do you feel is a more appropriate approach to getting the data collection
100%.
to make an informed decision
And
here?
one of the other things, sorry, I didn't mention, so we've also got the Safe Routes to School stuff, there's been the LCAR stuff, Main Roads are doing things, there's this proposal, and none of it seems to be getting gelled together.
And in terms of the implementing the time of day ban, is there a certain time period that you'll be looking for that to be implemented for in your mind?
I think I'm trying to cast my memory back now to the accident data, but from memory, the accidents are occurring in the morning and the afternoon peak. So it's when the traffic volumes are high, the frustration is getting high, and people are chancing it and trying to get out. And to be perfectly honest, I use this right-hand turn lane like on the weekends completely fine when there's not heavy traffic. And it's the queuing that I've seen has been in those peak periods as a pedestrian.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, Councillor Peterway.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks for your deputation, Ms. Barker. Just wanted to quickly ask, with the backup of traffic in those peak times, how far does it go back when you consider like Guildford Road? Does it go back all the way to Garrett Road, or is it sort of somewhere in between? I mean, in the worst case scenario.
On the Guildford Road traffic?
Yeah. Oh, no, not Guildford Road, but Garrett Road. How far back
Road
does
traffic,
it go?
yep.
Yeah.
It probably goes about halfway down to the Stone Street intersection when it gets really bad, I would say.
It goes,
Yeah.
you can go down past Stone Street.
Yeah, and it's obviously
the side of Stone Street.
Yeah, it's the traffic leading up to Guildford Road, obviously
That's
on,
right,
on the
yeah.
left-hand side, if you look
Yeah.
at that. Okay, so it's sort of like just past Stone Street.
Yeah, it really depends. And now that,
And
with
that's
the
been
shortening of,
exacerbated, as you say, because the left-hand lane on Guildford Road's been shortened, do you think?
yeah.
That's
so,
your opinion on that? Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, it has been shortened. And
yeah,
so,
well, yeah, but-
so once there's a bit of queuing, people can't turn left as easily as they used to.
Yeah.
Because there's less room. So what they do is they get stuck and they just
Go down Queen or
go down
Gilbert or
Queen and they
whatever.
just head off through the suburb.
Yeah, okay, all right. Yeah, no, that's all I kind of wanted. So most of those accidents coming out of Stone Street turning right are just in those peak periods, and you've witnessed that because obviously that they're sort of blinded from the traffic built up on the left, and you can't see traffic coming right. Is that mostly the accident just turning right?
As far as I understand from the data, it's always the right-hand turn is
Yeah.
the conflict.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Any other questions? I have a few questions, please. From your experience, is the intersection with Stone Street is quite a currently busy intersection with cars?
Yeah, it's, well, like, you mean cars
Stone
trying to...
Street, Garrett Road. Is it a busy intersection from your, experience?
So in the morning and the afternoon peak, I would say it's busy.
Yeah.
But, in the non-peak times, it's just pretty quiet. So we cross there twice a week on the bike bus route and probably have to stop for, 30 seconds to a minute and a half, so not too long.
So I was asking that because you mentioned the right-hand time of the day ban as a good option, good solution. So if a ban was to be implemented, wouldn't that mean that all those cars that currently use Stone Street and Garrett Road intersection will now be diverted to other streets in Maylands and Bayswater, and especially around the Maylands Peninsula primary school? Wouldn't that divert the problem to other quieter streets and increase it in peak time?
I think that's the issue. So that hasn't been modelled or checked. So it would just be me guessing. But the reality is, it depends on where people are going, right? Like cars, you can turn out onto Guildford Road. People always try and avoid the Guildford-Gowrie intersection. So if they're coming from back further in the peninsula, they can still get out onto Guildford and cross the road there. They're just choosing to run through the suburb. Now, these are streets and they're local streets. These are not roads. It's not Garrett Road. It's not Guildford Road. That's not what they're designed for. It's where people live. There's meant to be slow points and speed bumps, and we're talking about slower speeds. So if people are spending more time cutting through a suburb to avoid lights, that's not what we want the roads to be used for. That's not their intention.
So just a follow-up question. So for example, all those people who live on the Bayswater side of that part of the area towards Garrett Road, from what I understand, many of them are using currently Stone Street to get out, because some street they can't actually turn right. That means that if there was a ban, all those cars will probably be diverted to other streets, and maybe specifically.
Well, I think that's the modelling that needs to be done, Ellie, because I'm not.
Sorry, Ms. Barker, I'll just finish the question if I can. And for example, there is only lights next to, the closest lights to that part of the area is Falkirk Ave. So all those ones who peak time would want to go to the traffic lights, what the ban, and I'm asking you, might do is diverting all those cars through the school towards the lights at Falkirk Ave. Wouldn't that create more safety issues to kids around the school?
Well, I think this is why the modelling needs to be done, because I'm not sure what all these cars are. Like, this is a residential area, it's quite low density. So it's not high density like Maylands. There's not all these cars, and not all these people that live in that area are going to Ascot in the morning peak. I definitely know lots of my neighbours in my immediate vicinity. They quite often, lots of them work from home. Most of my friends in that immediate neck of the wood are a one-car family. They have people that ride to their work. They have people that walk to their work. They have people that use, we've got a local bus that runs on Queen Street. We've got several buses that run on Guildford Road, and we have trains that come every 4 minutes. So I don't think there's all these cars that we're actually going to inconvenience because all these people in this little nook are going to Ascot every day. And this is why you actually need data and proper modelling, because we're just making assumptions.
Okay. I'll just check if there are any questions, councillors. Thank you very much for your deputation, Ms. Bowker.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question from the floor? Is that permitted or not?
We don't have questions today. Questions are next week. So you can next week ask a question at question time, or send us separately if you want, and we can follow it up. You know, I'm happy you can send it directly to the city or through me. Councillors, we have received 2 written deputations tonight in relation to this item from Gary O'Connell and Paul Adair, both in opposition to the officer's recommendation. These have been provided to councillors and published on the city's website, and I will take them as read. Now we will move to the second part of the meeting, questions on agenda reports. We will start with the item that was subject to deputation. Councillors, any questions? Yes, Councillor Black.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. I guess with the officer's recommendation for LIM 3, it requests the CEO to engage a traffic consultant to prepare the concept design and incorporate that community feedback. What's the traffic consultant is doing, would it encompass what the deputy this evening is asking for in regards to collecting sufficient traffic data, making detailed reference to the WAPC livable neighbourhoods policy, and reviewing the functions of the impacted roads in particular?
Yes, I will go to the director, please.
Yeah, through the chair. So we'd be asking the consultant to prepare the actual concept design for the intersection. So it's not necessarily looking at all the traffic modelling numbers for the entire precinct, but it will just look at that intersection. So what you see, what's been presented previously as an intersection design is just a stock standard intersection that you put in the four-way intersection scenario. That's not the actual concept, that's not the final design. what we need to do is actually come up with the concept to understand exactly what it's going to look like. And through that process, we take all the feedback and comments that we've received through the consultation process and try to address those through the design. So the issues like, you know, how much verge space gets taken up, that's an issue for people. Try to produce a design that doesn't take up as much verge space. There's issues relating around, people didn't like the idea of cars being able to drive across from Stone into Frinton. We'd look at options such as, you know, can we actually stop that? And that could actually change the design considerably in terms of, you know, that instead of having a four-way with full control, full access in all directions, we could actually have some further controls put in there. So the idea is to actually look at what the design could look like based on all the feedback. Then we can look at the actual cost of the project, get an indication of how much it will cost, and then we can compare it against the Black Spot program to see whether it can actually qualify for the program.
Thank you. Before that, Councillor Black, I just want to jump in because I feel like I need to declare interest because the Maylands Peninsula Primary School was mentioned several times during interpretations. In my response, I would like to declare partial interest that my kids, both of my kids, attend the Maylands Peninsula Primary School. And I will stay in the room. Councillor Black, thank you.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. In terms of that Black Spot funding, is it the city's understanding that funds traffic signalisation, such as being proposed here? Would a time of day right-hand turn ban signalisation be funded as part of that project, potentially?
I will go to your director.
Through the chair. So the Black Spot program's got a whole range of treatments that are accepted under the program. In terms of just putting in a right turn ban without signalisation, I don't believe that will be covered, but I can find out and just see whether something like that would be considered. But from my experiences over the years, I don't believe there'd be something like that unless it was accompanied with a signalisation or some other treatment.
And just to thank you for that response, and through you, Acting Mayor, the modelling that the traffic consultant will look at, that's pre-existing modelling that the city has already completed, or is there additional modelling that the traffic consultant will complete as part of their work? Just want to double check that.
Through the chair, I mean, if we engage a consultant, it's about the actual design of the intersection. So a lot of it would be geometric design, not necessarily looking at all the traffic models. They will look at the immediate data for that intersection. So we do have that information, but if we're talking about a broader precinct-based analysis, well, we're not going to cover that because we're only going to engage them for the actual intersection design.
And in terms of timeframe for this, and if when will this be completed, is this coming back to council for approval?
Yeah, I'll go to your director.
Yeah, through the chair, yes, that's the basically the design will be produced. We'll get a cost estimate. We'll understand whether it qualifies for the Black Spot program. We will then come back to council to basically provide those outcomes and seek direction going forwards.
And sorry, just does the city have an estimated timeframe for that ballpark timeframe, quarter?
At this stage, we're probably looking at somewhere within maybe the next 6 to 9 months.
Thank you.
So did you say 6 to 8 months? Yeah, thank you. Any other question, Councillor Black? Any other questions, councillors? I have 2 questions to you, Director, please. There was some discussion here from the deputy around the right turn ban as an option. Can you elaborate more, or I'm happy to take it on notice, what can be the implications of introducing this instead of what is proposed by the city, the lights? What will be the implication? Having the ban without the lights, the traffic lights.
So, I mean, I'm trying to understand whether it's actually a signalisation with a ban or is it actually just a ban on an existing intersection. But if that occurs, if there is any sort of ban, it is going to redistribute the traffic in the area. So there's no doubt about that. It will redistribute elsewhere because there are vehicles that turn right at that intersection. But in terms of how many and what the impact is, it's probably hard for me to say at this point in time, but I can take it on notice and talk to the staff that are involved in the project and see if I can get something prepared prior to the council meeting.
Thank you. And just because the deputies are still here, maybe I will just confirm with a note, if you ask for the option for the right turn ban without the lights, the traffic lights. Okay, so without the traffic lights, Director, that's what is proposed. Thank you. I do have another question because it was raised by one of the deputies that the changes to Guildford Road and Garrett Road intersection by main roads caused to the left lane to be shortened. Is the city aware of that? Because I remember that the intention was to extend the right lane, but I wasn't aware that there was shortening of the left lane.
Yeah, it is correct. They did shorten the left lane, but that was because they've increased the right turn lanes. So the purpose of doing the changes is to actually improve the efficiency of the traffic signals. So it is meant to shorten the queue lengths along that road, approaching Guildford Road from the Garrett Road side, from the south side. So it is meant to be more efficient, and it's meant to be providing some relief for those traffic lights.
Do we know, can we seek the information how much it was shortened and whether it did achieve the efficiency that Main Roads was hoping for overall for the intersection?
Yeah, I mean, those changes were modelled through Main Road, so they do have people that do that modelling, and that's why they've made the decision to change the line marking there. In terms of its success, we can ask Main Roads for an update in terms of what they've observed since that's been done.
Yep, thank you very much, Director. I will check again if there are any questions on this item. No. Thank you. So, councillors, no one asked to in advance to raise any questions about other items, but I will check. Any items? Yes, Councillor Black, which item?
Thank you, Acting Mayor. 10.1.3, the Rise Cafe.
Yes, please.
When this item came to council last year, I believe it was the 1st of July 2025 ordinary council meeting, I understand that there may have been some finances or business plan or some forecasting that was part of the awarding process that was done by the city. Is the city able to provide that to councillors in the form of a confidential memo to help inform our decision making for next week?
Yes, I will go to the CEO.
Yeah, through the chair, I'm more than happy to go back and have a look at the applicant's submission, and I can provide that information in a memorandum later this week to council.
And thank you, CEO. And through you, Acting Mayor, could the city also provide any instances in the last 5 or 10 years where the city has provided relief to a leaseholder commercial enterprise as part of that memo as well?
Through the chair, I'll endeavour to find that information out and include that within the memo as well.
Any other questions on this item, councillors? I will ask a question on this one. Can the city elaborate on the issues in front of the rise that the city, especially the security team, has been experiencing in recent years, and how the cafe, since the operation, may be impacted at the situation that we experienced there? Happy to take it on notice. Is it to you, Director? What the impact of the cafe on the safety issues that was raised, if there was any impact? It's positive and not positive.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Thanks for the question opportunity. So in recent times, the cafe has been, I'd say, a critical part of helping to activate the public space outside and the surrounds of the Rise. And it works to provide food and hospitality offerings to programs and services and facilities that we provide at the Rise. So it definitely has a positive impact.
Do we know if there was a reduction of calls or messages to the city with regards to antisocial behaviour at that area since the cafe has been operating there?
The feedback we've had is that it has been less activity, but I would have to take on notice any specific reporting numbers and data.
Thank you. I'll check again. Any other questions, councillors? On this one? Yes, which other item? Councillor McDonald.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. 10.1.4 King William Street.
Yes, please.
Oh, fire away. One sec. Thank you. The Calder application that the officers recommend we approve states a 15-year term without options at 80,000 rent. But the officers report mentions 5 + 5 + 5 at 80,000 with outgoings. Can the city just clarify the term as well as the outgoings, please?
Through you, Acting Mayor, I mean, the terms are still to be negotiated. The report is recommending that we go into further negotiations with the proponent. It's usual within any commercial leases that the outgoings will be paid by the person taking up the premises, and that information will be presented in a further report, subject to council making a decision next Tuesday in relation to that.
Thank you. Just a follow-up, if that's right, a couple. If they offer the 15-year, would the 15-year term without options not be better fiscally with the 250K invested as opposed to the 5-year terms, which I believe they had the option of walking away from after 5 years? It just brings the ratio much lower per year for the city's investment.
Through you, Acting Mayor, and there's some of the, obviously subject to Council's decision next week, there's some of the things that we would hope to put in front of the proponent to try and reduce the upfront liability of the city in the 250,000 investment, but all of those will be subject to further negotiations around the commercial terms that would then come back to Council for Council to make a decision on.
Thanks, and just one more question. Would a fixture schedule be included in that negotiation with them? I'm sure it's subject to negotiation, but just because they mentioned a $1 million spend, but if it were to fail after 5 years or a year or two, how much are they taking away with them versus what the city's left with in terms of an asset that's been upgraded?
And through you, Acting Mayor, yes, you're correct, Councillor. That was something that will be done as part of those term negotiations, and a fixture schedule would be included and then included within the report for Council to consider.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions on this item? I have one question with regards to the recommended applicant by the city. I couldn't see any reference to car parking allocation. What is being proposed, if at all, with regards to that? Is any parking being planned on the lot?
Through you, Acting Mayor, not to my knowledge. I would need to take that on notice and go back and look at the application to see, and then also consult with the planning department to see whether that would require any on-site parking.
Thank you. Yeah, so what's the requirement? And if not, what's the intention? Just so we know, the intention that if this goes ahead, the visitors to that business will be using the street parking, etc., just so we know. Thank you. Any other questions, councillors? Yes, Councillor Black.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. Would this, just from my understanding, would this require a change of use for that facility to be used for this purpose?
You mean like for a restaurant/cafe? Yes. Do we know? Yeah.
Through Acting Mayor, so we would work with whoever is successful to identify the nature of the work and the scope. If it fits in the exemptions policy that Council recently adopted, then it wouldn't need a development approval, but if it's outside of that, then it would, and potentially would need a building permit depending, again, on the nature and scope of the works.
And just to follow up on that one, if that building permit was required, if the building does have any accessibility issues, noting that there's a heritage building, would those need to be rectified before an occupancy permit is issued or it begins operation?
I will go to your director.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. Again, it just depends on the scope of the work. We would work with the proponent closely and work through and provide advice along the way to support that. It's too complex to give you a specific answer at this stage.
Thank you.
Any other questions on this item, councillors? Any questions on any other items? No? Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, please.
Sorry, Deputy Mayor, just one quick one.
Which item?
Around participatory budgets, which
is the notice of motion?
Yes, it is, yep.
Please, that's item, so I'll just give the number, 11.1.
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Mayor. The city has done this previously, correct, about 5 or 6 years ago. Can I just ask what the reason was that it ended?
Yeah, yes, the CSA, he was not here, and I think, did we have, no, they were nodding, they were not here. Although I was here. But maybe I should answer that during debate next week.
Sure.
Maybe it's appropriate for the city to answer now. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, I might expand on that next week. Yeah. Any other follow-up questions on this? Anything else, councillors? Any items before we close the meeting? If there is nothing else, councillors, I will close the agenda briefing forum at 7:45. Thank you, everyone.